Hello everyone, my name is Abigail Bonacera, and today we will be talking about how we can apply the cognitive psychology behind problem solving to the job of a mental health counselor. Thank you for joining me. To begin, let's familiarize ourselves with the career of a mental health counselor. According to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the field of substance abuse, behavioral disorder, and mental health counselors is projected to have a 17% job growth between 2024 and 2034. The average projected growth for careers is 3%, so this projection is staggering and perhaps reflective of how common mental health issues are in this country. The median yearly salary for a career in these roles is about $59,000, although this can vary widely depending on factors such as specialization and setting. This profession requires a minimum of a master's degree with supervised clinical experience and a state license. The cognitive domain I chose to reflect upon is problem solving because in these roles, problem solving is a core skill. Working side by side with the client, counselors help people identify problem areas of their life, set goals, and create action plans to help bring about long-term change. Although finding one correct answer is not the general nature of application in this field, the principles of Simon and Newell's problem-solving approach still hold true. In Simon and Newell's approach, they define the initial state as the environment at the start of the problem, the goal state as the solution to the problem, and the intermediate state as the space between. The problem space, which is all possible states within the problem, must be scanned in order to analyze the problem. This is what they call means-end analysis, and the goal of this type of examination is to reduce the distance between the initial state and the goal state. Within the intermediate state, they proposed the idea of operators, which are steps taken towards the solution. Oftentimes, these operators bring us closer to what Simon and Newell called sub-goals, which are a form of intermediate state that bring us closer to the goal state. Let's examine these principles through the lens of a mental health counselor. If a client is struggling with loneliness and wants to meet new people, the counselor can use Simon and Newell's approach to create an action plan with the client. The initial state for the client is loneliness and perhaps a lack of important people in their life. The goal state, perhaps maybe having 3 new friends that they feel they can engage with regularly. The intermediate state might include barriers such as social anxiety, lack of opportunity, or negative self-beliefs. Client and counselor should work together to identify operators that the client is comfortable with, such as joining a club to meet people with similar interests or working on positive self-acceptance. By performing a means-end analysis, the client can choose which actionable steps they are most drawn to and comfortable with. The two might agree upon periodic sub-goals that move the client toward the goal state. For example, having a weekly goal of having one conversation with a new person, or attending a group meeting once a month. These operators and sub-goals will help the client close the gap between the initial state and the goal state. Honed problem-solving skills can be particularly useful in times of crisis intervention. When emotions are high, it can be hard to navigate a situation, even for the most seasoned professionals. Having a step-by-step guide to fall back on in crisis intervention situations can help counselors stay level-headed and give them actionable next steps. In a field that relies so heavily on problem-solving processes, understanding the cognitive psychology behind the skill can make for a more effective and impactful counselor. By applying Simon and Newell's problem-solving model, counselors can help clients navigate challenges in a structured and directive way while still leaning into compassion and empathy. Understanding these cognitive processes not only strengthens clinical skills, but also supports better outcomes for clients. Thank you for listening.